Currently, we have two services for working with our API endpoints, genre service and movie service. We're going to take the same approach, create a new service, call it user service, and make it responsible for talking to our user's endpoint. So anytime we want to register a user or delete a user or get information about a user, we're going to use that service. So here in the services folder, let's add a new file, user service.js. Now to speed things up, I'm going to copy some code from our movie service. So on the top, we should bring these two import statements as well as this constant API endpoint. So copy, paste them here, and then change API endpoint to /users. Now we should export a function, call it register, which takes a user object. And in this function, we should call http.post. We pass our API endpoint, and this is the object that we should include in the body of the request. This object, as you saw in the last lecture, should have three properties. Email, which we set to user.username. The reason I didn't set this to user.email is because in our registration form, we call this property username. Let me show you. So let's go to register form component. On the top, here's our state object. Look, this object, our data object, has three properties: username, password, and name. This is a common scenario in real-world applications. Sometimes the front end and back end are built by different people, so the namings don't always match. Or it's even possible that you build both the front end and back end, but you're not consistent with your naming. Now, in this case, this is a tiny issue, but if you can make the names consistent, your code will be always cleaner and easier to maintain. Now, back to our user service, we should also send the password. So user.password, and finally name, which we set to user.name. So we send this HTTP request to the server and then return the promise. That's it. Now let's go back to our register form again. So register form. On the top, we should import our new service. So we can import one function like register from. We go one level up, and then in the services folder, we load the user service module. So that's one way. Or we can import all functions in this module using this syntax, star as user service. With this syntax, we'll have a user service object in this module, and the functions we have exported from user service will be methods of this object. So with this, we can go to our doSubmit method and call user service dot, look, this is our register method. Now you don't necessarily have to import all the functions in the user service module. Maybe all you need is the register function. So you could simply import that function. But I just wanted to show you a different syntax to work with these modules. So we call user service.register and pass this .state .data. So this returns a promise. We need to await it and mark this as async. Let's test the application. So back in the browser, I'm going to supply a different email. So user2@domain.com with this password and my name, register. So currently we don't get any notification on this page. But if you look at Chrome DevTools under network tab, you can see we have a request to our user's endpoint. And this is the body of the response. So we successfully created this user. And you can also verify this by looking at the users collection in our MongoDB database. So currently we have 2 user objects. Beautiful. Next, we'll look at handling the scenario where the username or email already exists.